What's up YouTube? This is your friend the neighborhood movie nerd back to give you guys everything that is going on in the world of movies and TV. So it is no secret that Game of Thrones Season 8, the final season, will be released on Sunday, April 14th. Hashtag for the throne. And so of course with that I had to do my little companion piece, and just to give a little bit of recap, a little bit of context to this situation. This was originally going to be one video that I shot back in fall of 2017 after the conclusion of season 7 of Game of Thrones, but I was looking back over it and I actually kind of liked it, so now I'm releasing it in increments of 7, one for each episode of season 7 obviously, and I'm basically going to be recapping in spoilerific detail every single beat. This will sort of be a conclusion slash continuation of my series of recaps that I filmed over that summer. But in the meantime, just sit back and enjoy this spoilerific review for the penultimate season of Game of Thrones. Episode 1, Dragonstone. The season kicks off with Walder Frey, somehow still alive despite having his throat sliced open by Arya last season. He's giving another party to celebrate his family and the recent victory that they've scored. But wait, it's a trick! It's revealed to be none other than Arya Stark, wearing Walder Frey's face as she proceeds to poison every single last Frey that matters, wiping out the other family that helped to betray and murder hers, and finally giving the Freys the justice that they've been eluding for very long. But before departing the twins to continue her reign of terror on Westeros, Arya tells one of the servant girls to tell everyone that winter came for the Freys.
When people ask you what happened here, tell them the North remembers.
So as she leaves the twins, she stumbles on a small group of Lannister soldiers who offer her food and drink, one of whom happens to be none other than Ed Sheeran, in a cameo that would light the internet on fire, though it would not be the last time that happened this season. Up north in Winterfell, Jon Snow, newly crowned king in the north, and his right-hand woman, Sansa, are setting down provisions to prepare for the imminent attack by the White Walkers, whom Jon knows will be at the wall before they know it. After informing the Northerners that they have to search through all the records they have in order to find any remaining dragonglass, he instructs every Northern house to begin training every man and woman they have available, finally breaking that long-standing tradition that women are not allowed to defend themselves. He then instructs Tormund Giantsbane to head north with the remaining wildlings to man the remaining castles along the wall, as the first line of defenses when the walkers finally attack is the wall itself, and the wall has not been properly manned in centuries. But all's not well here in wintry paradise as Jon makes the decision to grant Last Hearth and Carhold, the two castles closest to the wall, to the last remaining Umbers and Karstarks, the two families who supported Ramsay against them, whose liege lords Small John Umber and Harold Karstark died in the Battle of the Bastards. But Sansa believes that the children of traitors do not deserve their father's castle. To make matters worse, Littlefinger is still in Winterfell, whispering in Sansa's ear. Meanwhile, Bran and Meera arrive at Castle Black and are safely escorted through by Dolores Ed, who's still acting Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Meanwhile, we fast forward to the epicenter, King's Landing, where Cersei now rules with an ironclad fist with Jaime at her side. They hear about what happened to the Freys, which concerns them considering the Freys were basically their only remaining allies, as the Tyrells and Martells have both joined with Daenerys due to Cersei's crippling of their families. When Jaime asks who their allies are now, Cersei reveals that she's invited the newly crowned King of the Iron Islands, Euron Greyjoy himself, to King's Landing to swear fealty. Once there, Euron states that he will pledge the Iron Fleet to Cersei in exchange for overall general independence of the Iron Islands, as well as a chance to wed Cersei, a proposition that Cersei quickly turns down due to Euron's treacherous nature. However, not finished yet, Euron states that he will win Cersei's trust with a gift, and vows to not return until he has one. Even further south, in Old Town, we revisit Samwell Tarly and his continuing struggles to simultaneously become a maester, as well as to convince the other older, supposedly wiser maesters of the threat of the dead. As for the first, he finds himself in easily the grossest montage we've seen so far in Game of Thrones. As for the second issue, the only maester that Sam is able to convince of the threat from the north is Archmaester Eberroth, played by Jim Broadbent. But Eberroth's statement as to why he won't attempt to convince the other maesters is even more disheartening, as he tells Sam that through all the different times that the people of the world thought that the world was coming to an end, the wall has stood and will continue to protect the realm. While researching at his little house outside the Citadel where he's staying with Gilly and her babies, Sam discovers that no doy, there's a mountain of dragonglass underneath Dragonstone, as Stannis had told him years before. Knowing that this is important, he immediately writes a letter to Jon. Later on, while collecting food for the Deathly Hill who are all locked up at their own dungeons, Sam runs into another expected face, Jorah Mormont, who's found his way to the Citadel in a last-ditch attempt to cure himself. He asks Sam if Daenerys has arrived yet, to which Sam replies he does not know. And cue the end of episode 1 as we finally see Daenerys and her massive fleet touch down at Dragonstone. A powerful moment for several reasons. The primary one being that this was A, where she was born all those years ago during Robert's Rebellion, and B, the fact that Dragonstone was the first point where the Targaryens touched down when they first reached Westeros from Old Valyria, and also the fact of it's the first time that she's been home since she was a baby. After placing her hand in the sand, she walks out of the castle with Tyrion, Missandei, Grey Worm, and Varys and enters the throne room, then into Stannis' infamous map room where she speaks her only line of dialogue in the whole scene.
Shall we begin?